All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Please, can you see my screen? Yes. Can you see my screen?
Yes,
Anyone,
the
please
screen is
confirm.
present.
Yes, sir, we can
Yes,
see you.
yes, yeah.
All right. That's nice. Thank you very much. So, you're welcome to class once again. Who's just joining us? Yes, we will kick off with enterprise systems knowledge. And then we just take the Zambike model company as a model for discussion. So, in today's class, I want to dwell on this enterprise system, all the buzz about it. Why do we need to have it at this time? Why enterprise systems? What is enterprise system? We all know that SAP is just one of the enterprise systems that we have, just one package or one service provider. So what is enterprise systems as a stage? And then how does it work in a typical company? If I want to own my company, I want to run a business. How does enterprise systems, what role does enterprise systems play in my business operation? So that's just a little discussion we're going to have this afternoon. So as I said, Prof has taken us through the introduction, so I won't want to dwell on the introduction of the course, and we'll just move straight to what enterprise systems are. Okay, so this is what we're going to cover in today's class. We're going to have a definition, an evolution, what is the enterprise systems market is, how wide it is. Is it something that is global? Is it something that has been adopted? So we're going to see a little discussion on that. Then we'll dwell a bit on the implementation phase. How do I adopt an enterprise system into my business? Then we'll see the model company blueprint. So what kind of operations are allowed on an enterprise systems? I will see the division of the software of an enterprise resource um, enterprise resource planning. How does the software come in? How does it help? Is it that can every activity in a typical business setting be run in an enterprise system software? So we're going to lay emphasis on this in today's class. So now what is an enterprise resource? What is enterprise resource plan? Now, enterprise resource planning is just saying, I have a business operation. I need to make some plans. I need to do daily administration of my work. I need to do accounting. I need to do production. I need to do logistics. So these are activities I want to perform in my business. So by the time you now start putting things in place, you're trying to make some level of control, you're trying to make some level of automation, you're trying to make some level of processing. So what you're saying, you're trying to do a planning. So that is just something around enterprise resource planning. You know, in the olden days or the ancient times, we used to do material resource planning or material requirement planning. When do I need to bring in what? When do I need to buy a particular material? When do I need to buy a particular product in my process? So the world has moved from there and has now gotten to a level of saying the enterprise resource planning, the entirety of your firm, the entirety of your business, from production to delivery to customer feedback. So all these are embedded in enterprise resource planning. So the enterprise resource planning system is now where you now adopt a particular system to handle these operations for you. It's a system, it's a comprehensive package, a software package that incorporates all modules. Now, in this course, we'll be saying operations to be modules. All modules needed to run the operation of your business. So you are talking operations, you are talking activities. So the enterprise system is saying modules. So when all these things, your logistics, your finance, your material requirement planning, your supervision can be done using a software package. So that software package is called the ERP system. So that is just a definition. So it's a system, is a software package that incorporates all the modules of your business operation. It is a type of enterprise system, and it should include the following modules. So a typical ERP system must consist of manufacturing stroke operations management that has to do with production. So those that are into production, so we say manufacturing, conversion of raw materials into finished goods. You talk about, say, a bottling company that produces soft drinks. So that is production. So those operations, those transformations are operation. It will also be entertainment. You are doing a movie. So all what you did on the field, or what you are doing on the field, they are all operations, all manufacturing. The second part is that an enterprise system must have accounting and finance that does with the monetary aspect of your production, of your system, of your business. Then the third one is the human resource that deals with the number of people that are working, number of contractors that you have, number of laborers that you have, number of workers in your business. So there is also the aspect of sales that does with the transaction of whatever you're producing or whatever you are servicing in terms of goods or service. And the last one is purchasing. So please don't forget, remember this key point. They are very important for you to understand any enterprise system. You must have your manufacturing or production. You must have an accounting. You must have your human resource, the sales, and purchasing. So as time goes on in the course and this teaching, you're going to see how each of these modules relates with the others, how they interfere, what transaction and what kind of transaction takes place between all of these modules and how they are interwoven to make up the entire ERP system. Now, there are 5 evolutions. Even though this has gone beyond my note, by the recent check that I have, but basically there are evolution of the ERP system. As I said initially, what we had then was materials requirement planning. So in the early 1960s, when production began in full phase, and then introduction of bits of planning into or management into engineering. So the production system management took cognizance of materials requirement planning. So we don't just want to buy everything and anything that comes that we need in the factory. We need to put a level of control to material. So production basically was focused on the materials alone. Take, for example, you are producing tires, tires for your vehicles. So, I mean, for vehicles, you are concerned with the rubber that you want to buy. You just focus on what quantity of materials to buy, who am I going to buy from, and that was the focus at that time. So the whole essence of production or the running of the factory was about materials. You get materials and materials until there was a shift from MRP to MRP2, which talks about manufacturing resource planning. Now, manufacturing resource planning now added a bit of the machines, the capacity of the machines that are running the factory, not just the material, but also what are the resources as that are input into the system. What is our capacity? So capacity building began to come into play. Manufacturing was moved beyond materials to even the humans, line balancing, and some other few things that came in. And then the factory focus or the focus of management in the factory then began into the manufacturing setup, the layout, the factory layout, the throughput time for the production. And then the focus began bigger, was going beyond material, then to the entire production system. And then to the first ERP, the enterprise resource planning. So at that time, focus shifted from just the manufacturing floor, just what is going on in the manufacturing, to the other aspect of the business, to financing. How much money are we going to make? Are we making profit? To human resource, to supply chain, bringing in the vendors into the production system. So the generation went from ERP generation 1, second generation, third generation, and now the fourth generation. Now, what is the level of engagement in all of this? As the factory system began to grow bigger and global, you see factories began to move from within continent to outside the continent. So we began to see manufacturing, began to see vendor from different continents, and then sending in raw materials, and also the vendor became part of the production system. You see the vendor coming in. So that gave back to the second generation. We had the third generation where we have the development of your supply chain management, customer relations management. So not just the production, not just massive customization that we saw in the earlier production. We needed to see what does the customer want? How do we relate to them? What is their voice? What are their voices that is embedded into production? So that gave back to the third generation. Supply chain management came into it, vendor relationship management, customer relationship management, and all that. So they were all input into the third generation until the fourth generation, where we began to see the advent of social media. Social media came on board, so we begin to see actual in real-time customer voice into production. Customer began to give feedbacks. You can rate a product. You can rate the production system, how fast they are, how slow they are, what is their response level to the production. So that was the fourth generation. Now, as I said, the world is now moving beyond the fourth generation into what I would predict to be the fifth generation. And this is the generation of artificial intelligence. Now you see the system being adapted to the need of the customer. So more like preempting the need of the customer. So you see products being produced, and you just wonder, I was thinking about this thing. I was just thinking maybe something like this will be in the future. So now you see predictive production coming into play. You see AI predicting our need, and then products being tailored to the individual. So other than their voice, also there are other dimensions of the human want, their desires are being fed into the production system or the enterprise systems that gave birth to the new generation and that we are. So this is just an overview, a flow of the evolution of enterprise resource planning. So as I said, just a note, we saw materials requirement planning, formation, so plans, production, and raw materials for future production, as I said, and form the basis for most ERP systems. Yes, so ERP systems actually began from material requirement planning. So focus was on projection schedule, raw material purchases, bill of material, or bill of requirement, bill of equipment and requirement, bill of equipment, suppliers, relationship are all part of what form the MRP. So we won't take ERP away from MRP because MRP is an integral part of ERP. So we can't have an ERP system without having a knowledge or a background to MRP. It is very, very important. So MRP forms the framework for ERP. So if you, for all enterprise systems, what you are concerned is majorly relationship, vendor relationship, supply of materials, supply of product between customers and the factory, supply of raw materials from the vendor down to the factory, you make purchases, you make sales, you make payments, and all that. So it's very important to understand that concept. Now, the ARP as a comprehensive package incorporates all modules that is needed to run the operations of a business, not just materials alone, not just manufacturing, but every aspect that is needed to run the business. So for example, SAP as an ERP system has a module called accounting. So you can see from my screen here, you see accounting, you see controlling, you see FI. These are modules in the SAP system. You see logistics, you see SD, sales and distribution, you see MM, materials, yes, materials management. So you see quality management, production planning, sales and distribution, finance, treasury, project system, workflow, warehouse management, supervision, and every kind of module that you think a typical business must have. So all the activities, all operations of a business have been modeled into modules that can run on an enterprise resource package or software as it is. So yet ERP is often referred to as a back office. So what do we mean by that? ERP is often referred to as a back office. What happens in the production is captured on the SAP. So capturing on the SAP, there is a lot of reporting, there's a lot of transaction that goes in the SAP that captures what actually is taking place on the factory floor, for example, or what is taking place in your business. So everything is being recorded back end in the system. So for example, you want to make a purchase, what you just do is at the back end, you enter the number of products you want to buy, who am I going to buy from? So all the information has been stored in the system. So you make your purchases, it's captured inside your system. So once the man delivers the raw materials we just purchased from vendor X, every of those transactions must be captured on the ERP or on the system. So the system acknowledges that. So there's a lot of control that goes in. There's a lot of transparency that goes in. So there is no operation that is carried out that is not captured for control, for transparency, and for easy management. So just part of the evolution, as I said, the ERP tool was added what is called the front office. So the front office now takes recognizes the contribution of other people outside your business operation or outside your own business. So we have modules, something like your customer relations management. So we see the customer being external to the production system, but yet we are still relating with the customer. So we want to hear his feedback. We want to hear what he has to the factory, what kind of product appeals to his own, to him, supply chain management, suppliers relations management, and other aspects that has to do with external. So this is called the front office. So is part. So all these modules are part of the input into the enterprise systems. So as you are concerned with your production, as you are concerned with your human resource, as you are concerned with your accounting and your finance, every other aspect of the back end of your business. Also, there are some feedback. There are some input documents you need to get from people that are external or from businesses that are external, from your vendor, customer, from, for example, there is a third-party logistic, you run a delivery service using a third-party delivery van. So those kind of people, there's a relationship you have with that person or with that kind of business. So those people are integrated into your system and they are regarded as the front office. So include portals and also business intelligence. So ERP3 now integrate fans, integrate critics, as we said, through collaboration, direct contact, social media, and various data. So beyond the vendor, beyond the customers that we have direct relationship with, beyond your logistic and company that that helps you, there's also the public aspect of it. There is also the public that can give you feedback, that can give you commendations, that can rate your product, public opinion. So these are integrated, and one popular way to do this is through social media, all the social media platforms. Direct contact, someone just phone in. So there is a WhatsApp, remember there is a WhatsApp contact that is displayed on your website. Someone dials in and contact the factory, or it could be on your website, it could be on your chatbot and all that. So these are various means by which the enterprise systems has evolved to include direct contact and collaboration with the external. Includes customer input, include sales, include marketing, include feedback, include criticisms from the people. So what is the ES market like today? How big it is? Basically, there are top 5 ERP vendors. You can check online, you can check various, they should be, it will be less, because it will be more. But at when we were coming up with this, there were 5 big ERP vendors with the acronym JBOPS. 4 years later, we have just a few of them left. We have the SAP as it is. For S, you have PeopleSoft that took over JD Edwards. So the J stands for the JD Edwards. The B stands for BAN, BAN, BAAN, and the O stands for the Oracle that took over PeopleSoft. So we see these big 5 now being reduced to a few of SAP. We have Oracle. We have PeopleSoft. So PeopleSoft have been taken over by Oracle. Now, in the market today, the biggest players are SAP, Oracle, and I think Microsoft. Yes, there's a part of Microsoft also. They operate the ES market. So they provide similar software as a service kind of operation. So what SAP can do, some other ES2 can do similar operation. But there are peculiarities, just like you have for any kind of software package with all of this. So these are the big players in the ES market. So today we have ES vendors and their product. We have SAP, we have Oracle, we have Sage Group, we have Info. Yes, we have the Microsoft Business Solution, and also there are open source options. These are the biggest players that we have currently, or as at when this lecture note was developed. So we have SAP, so we have SAP ERP, there's SAP Business Suite, there's SAP All-in-One, SAP Business by Design, SAP Business One. So also Oracle applications, Oracle, JD Edwards, PeopleSoft, Siebel, Retech. So these are business packages, depending on what you want for your company. For example, if you are taking up SAP, so there are various options, depending on the capacity of your business, depending on the modules that you think you want to adopt for your business. You want your business to be designed in a particular way. So you could take up any of these products. So bear in mind that each of these products has its own capabilities, has its own features, and is different. So that is how the business runs. So you see other providers too, Microsoft Business Solutions, Info, they all operate the ES market. They all provide the enterprise system solution for your business. So there are open source options available in the different market. So we could see some of these are the providers. So the ES market and technology strategy. When we talk about the ES market, when we talk about enterprise resource package, what is it? What does it look like? What is the environment like? You may use that word. What are the features? So some of the features or some of the technologies being adapted or adopted in a typical ERP software is the first, which is called the segment. Vertical segment. So your business, you move from top manager down to the factory floor worker. So in between that, there are intermediaries. So also in a typical business, there are levels of hierarchies. Even in the modules, there are levels of hierarchies. There are some levels that are at par. There are some levels that are above some other ones. So that is the structure. So the ES technology is structured vertically. So there is a top management level of control. There is a level that is available level of control that's available for, say, a mid manager. So there's a level of access to, say, the factory floor. So the segment, the production manager will see is different from the segment to which the finance man or the finance manager is going to be apportioned. And also, there are also levels of communication from the top down to the bottom. So there is the SMBs, small to medium-sized businesses. So it's just saying that the market can be adapted to your business. My business operates production, human resource, and processing, or I do logistics. And it's just a small business of, say, 10 people or 5 people. So this is the aspect. These are the modules that are peculiar to me or to my business operation. So the ERP software can be adapted to your business, so whether big or small. So there is a cloud, which is software as a service. So there is a cloud aspect. So there is no physical structure. So as it is for enterprise systems. For example, the SAP. So there is a global platform. So you are brought on board to the platform. So there is a particular somewhere called cloud where that takes care of this transaction. So it's not that you have a physical structure or someone comes in to build up a physical building for you, and then or something that you can see or touch. It's just like you putting everything on, say, the internet, and it runs your business for you. There's a mobile integration, the social media integration. Mobile integration, it can run on mobile phones, you can communicate with your mobile phones. Also, there are, as I said, feedback from social media, and also there is a business intelligence integration. So these are just the technologies involved, and also the strategy for a typical ES market. Now, if I want to adopt now, I want to adopt a particular ERP system. I want to adopt just one particular ERP system. So what are the implementation stage? What are the basic things that I'm required to do? So there are 6 stages any adopter is required to go through. There's a requirement, there's a design, build and test, there's a deploy, operate, and optimize. So each of these stages you are required to provide certain level of data. So the requirements. So under the requirement, you are asked to provide what the business is about, basic information about your business that fits into the design. What do you want? This particular module XYZ, because this is what kind of business I operate. So the kind of business you operate also determine the kind of module that you are going to supply. So at the design stage, right, at the design stage, you need to present business blueprint in terms of the level of data, translated from what business as in the requirement stage is specifying the requirement, and then you are going to provide specific data. And these data are basically four. And please take note, they are very important throughout this course as you'll be learning SAP. So you'll be talking about data everywhere you go. For all the modules, you'll be supplying data. You'll be asked to retrieve data. You'll be asked to deal with data for a typical business. So the SAP or any enterprise system runs basically with the use of data. So you can't take away data. So the enterprise systems has been able to categorize the data into 4 levels. So whichever module you're operating, whichever module or package you want to adapt in your requirement, you must be able to spell out these 4 data. The first is the organizational data. And what do you supply? You supply information about the structure of your business. Structure, how many plants do you have? What is your plant name? What kind of operation do you perform? How many plants do you want to operate? How many locations are you having? Do you have a production system? What is the production capacity like? These are information that you provide. Your storage area, do you have a warehouse? Do you have so information basically about the structure of the organization is provided as organizational data. So for each module, you refer back to the organizational data. The organizational data is very important for your business. So the next data is the master data. Now, we are not going specific now. So, for each of the module, there are people attached. There are people in production. There are places for production. For example, there are objects that are being produced. So if you have a warehouse, there is somebody managing that warehouse. There's a physical location of that warehouse. There are objects that are stored in their warehouse. So that's now specific organizational data that you provide. And this is stored centrally. So finance wants to know how much raw materials, the value of raw materials that is in the store. So he doesn't need to go there to count physically. What he just needs is to query the code for warehousing. And then you'll be able to see and make and see whatever has been imputed as the value of the raw materials in the store. So that is maintained centrally and is shared among business processes. So warehouse can see how much of the goods have been sold, how much products are in the store, how much more to produce from the production plan. Also, purchasing group can see how much of raw materials we have in the store, how much do I need to buy to keep production running. So when are we going to finish the inventory, exhaust the inventory that we have in the store? So this information are maintained centrally and are used among the different applications. So the second level of data you need to provide is the business process or business processes and transactional data. Now, transactional data is what level of business activities or business processes takes place, and also what kind of document do I need to produce. For instance, we all know that if a purchase is made, there must be something like a purchase order. as a document that shows that this particular goods was ordered. Or if a particular must be something like a receipt, shows evidence of payment. So these are the specific data or documents that you provide, and it's called a document principle. So, for example, you made a transfer online. You see that there is a particular part that gives you a screenshot or a document that shows that the transaction was successful. It gives you a receipt that shows the amount transferred. It shows who you transferred to, which is the receiver, and all that. So these are the information that you need to use or you need to specify under transactional data. So what level of transactional data needs to be specified? And lastly, the reporting data. So reporting data has to do with the um, the feedback, more like say the feedback that is being processed centrally. So reporting data from what was purchased, reporting data from what is in the store, what is the stock count, what do I have as in my production floor, and all these are now what aggregated and then updated in the system. So whenever a purchase is made, then there is need to be a report. There is need to show what transaction took place. There is a need to update whatever goods that is left in the store. So for the ES data, this is like the sequence. So there's a sequence of configuration. Reports are aggregated into business process or transaction data. Business or process transaction data are aggregated into master data. So master data are aggregated into organizational data. That's the sequence from report to transaction to master to organizational data. So the reverse shows the criticality of the information that are available. So not everybody will have access to all the information of your business. So there are segmentation, as we said, of any ES system. So organization has to do with all your business processes. So next is your master data, next is your business transaction, next is your report. So report can easily be manipulated based on whatever is available in the store. So the warehouse manager can easily update whatever I have in the store. The finance can easily update whatever has been sold in the store. So there is a lot of integration at that particular level. But at the organizational level, most of those fields are embedded in the system because they have been provided at the beginning of your integration into the enterprise system. Now let's take a typical example of what happens for a business. In a enterprise system, now for example, the SAP, the organizational data element include, see the client. Now the client here signifies the adopter. So Mr. X as a client. So Mr. X on the SAP, we have his own unique company code. So your company code has been assigned to you on the ERP platform. So the company code under which you now have the different modules that you want to use. So organizational data now includes your purchase group, the purchase group. You see your plant, storage, sales group. Under sales group, you see sales division, distribution channel, sales offices, and all that. Under your plant, you see storage location, you see ship point, you see plant. Now, you notice something that there are lines connecting each of these data or each of these modules. So that shows there are relationship. So there's a relationship between sales group and the plant. There's a relationship between the sales group and the company code. So whatever sales that must be made from a company code. So the company is the one selling. So we see sales division for, probably you have a sales division for each type of product you are producing. They're all aggregated into the sales group. So these are examples of organizational data that are provided on the SAP platform. So client self-contained, as I said, in the SAP is unique to you. It has its own set of tables. It has its own set of master record. The company code represents an independent account unit. Company needs to provide financial statement. So you can have more than one company code under one client. For example, you have a plant in Kano, you have a plant in Ibadan. So the plant in Ibadan has its own financial record. So the necessity for a company code is a financial statement. And that of Kano is operating its own financial statement. So you can have these codes under the client. So you can have more than one plant under a company code. So a plant is just a manufacturing facility, a warehouse, or a distribution center. For someone that is operating a logistic business, it has a distribution center. So that's like a plant. So under a plant, there's a storage location. Also, there's a shipping point responsible for shipping. So let's look at an example of a model company. For example, is the Zambike, our Zambike model company. So the Zambike model company belongs to a global bike group, which is an international market that that belongs to the global bike. So the global bike group is an international market. So the Zambike has to do with handcraft, world-renowned signature composed frame touring bikes. Their off-road bicycles are also recognized as incredibly tough. So that's what they produce. So the companies have merged their strategies and operations for exciting collaboration that allows Zambike to extend its customer base and range of products. So the Zambike model company is now part of the global group. So the global group as a client, Zambike as one of the company codes that operate and that. So let's look at a model. So the global bike group is composed of Global Bike Incorporation in US. There's another one in Europe. There is now, so that of Europe is in Germany. That of US is in Dallas. So let's, okay. So let's take this organizational structure to explain better. So from this, we see there's a company client that is called the Global Bike Group, which is the client. So the client has 3 company codes: GBH Germany, GB Incorporation in US, and the Zambike company, which is our case study. So the Zambike company is just a company code in the Global Bike Group. So the Zambike, taking the Zambike, has 2 plants. There's a plant in Lusaka. There's a plant in Mungwi. So there's a plant in Lusaka and in Mungwi. So Mungwi doesn't have a shipping point, but Lusaka has a shipping point. And why don't we have a shipping point in Mungwi? Our shipping point is saying that is a place that relates with the customer. So customer goes there to buy physical product, their product, or whenever there is an order, so that is the place where the order is being fulfilled. So that is, so Mungwi is only a production plant that produces and supplies to Lusaka. So that's just an organizational structure of this the global break. You see the flow from the client to company codes to plans to shipping point. So as an exercise, we're asked to produce the business blueprint for the new Zambike company. So what client all company code, plant, storage are provided, and that is what has been supplied in this organizational chart. We see the client, the company code, we see the plant. So when you see Lusaka, anytime from now on, he's talking about the plant. So when you see Mungwi, he's talking about the plant. You see shipping point and all that has to be supplied. So for the Zambike case study, let's expand more. For Lusaka, Lusaka has Lusaka has 1, 2, 3, 4 storage locations. That is storage location for trading goods, semi-finished goods, finished goods, and miscellaneous. So we see Mungwi has storage locations for raw materials, semi-finished goods, finished goods, and miscellaneous. So those are the storage locations, 4 storage locations in each plant of the Zambike company. So why no raw materials in Lusaka? She said Lusaka is not a production plant. It's not a production plant. Mungwi is a production plant. Raw materials. So that's why we don't have raw materials in Lusaka, but we have raw materials in Mungwi. So these are the data you provide. These are typical data you provide. So these are specific data, organizational data that must be provided. For Mungwi, you provide specific data, raw materials, semi-finished goods, finished goods, and miscellaneous. For Lusaka, you see the peculiarities of each of this plant. So this is a typical screenshot from the SAP platform. So you see tables. So tables are used to store information that are being provided. Information from the vertical flow. You see the plant code. You see the plant where we are dealing with. You see the level of the different finished product or goods or raw materials that are there. And each of them has their codes because they are stored centrally. So we see for Mungwi plant, finished goods, FG00, miscellaneous MI00, RM00, SF00 for semi-finished goods. For Lusaka, you see finished, you see miscellaneous, trading goods, semi-finished goods. Now, each of these, if you click any of these, to take you to a set of tables that give more information about them, their numbers, their description, there are some other information, their price value that are stored centrally in the system. So those are organizational data. Let's talk about master data. Now, we said master data are now specific. We talk about person, we talk about place or object defined for specific information, organizational level. So for a plant, there are master data. There are certain aspects of data that are provided. For example, the master data will also talk about products, master data of customers, master data of vendor. So master data is designed